Hello, everyone. This is All Star Hoop Talk with Shane
and Ethan, because every team needs an all-star.
All right, so we're coming at you tonight, going to give you a recap of some of the playoffs that are happening and just kind of a look at the matchups and kind of look at Ethan's predictions here as well. And so where do you want to start out tonight? Ethan, do you want to start in the West or do you want to start in the East?
I'll start out in the West because that's where I've done better.
Okay. So which ones do you want to start with?
I guess I'll go with the Timberwolves and Nuggets series.
All right. And tell us again who is your prediction to win that series?
The Timberwolves, and so far they've already won 2, and that's been in Denver.
Exactly. That has been a statement for both of those wins. Taking it to Denver at home for the reigning champions, and not just to take one game away from them at home, but 2. The first 2 games out of the gun in Denver. What do you think Denver's mindset is going back to Minnesota?
Well, they're obviously definitely going to need to win these next 2 games, because if they even give up 1, then other than that, they just need to win 1 more game, and they've got the series.
The Timberwolves, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the Nuggets need to win the next 2 games, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Timberwolves are either going to sweep the Nuggets or just give them 1 game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dominant performance going in to Denver, which is already kind of hard to win at sometimes just because of the altitude and everything. And to not just steal 1 game out of the series, but to steal both of them on the road, that the Timberwolves must be on cloud 9, don't you think?
Yeah.
Do you think that that's going to make them vulnerable for Game 3 back at home? That Denver's going to say, hey, look, we can't let this happen again, and Denver and Timberwolves might be thinking too highly of themselves and they might be vulnerable going back home?
Yeah, that might happen, but I think if that does, the Timberwolves still will win, but only by maybe 5-7 points.
5 to 7 points. Now you're getting down to telling us exactly how many points a team will win. Wow. You haven't done that yet before.
No.
What makes you think that it'll be by 5 to 7 points?
Well, the Denver Nuggets in the beginning of the series, they had just won their second time in 2 years against the Lakers in the playoffs. So they must have been feeling confident. And so the Timberwolves were obviously also feeling very confident. And the Timberwolves were able to win by, I think, 6 or 7 points on the road. But the Nuggets, after there, I feel like they just lost their confidence for Game 2. But I think they'll try and regain everything and pull it back together for Game 3. But yeah, I just think that the Timberwolves aren't going to win by too much, but they'll still win.
Okay. Well, then let's go to the next matchup. The Thunder versus the Mavericks. We've only got 1 game in the series for that one so far. Game 2 of that series is going on tonight. But that first game of that series, the Thunder looked dominant. What did you think of that?
It just always surprises me how they're such a young team, but they're the number 1 seed in the West. And that just really surprises me. And against the Mavericks, they played really well. They took Game 1 by 20 to 30 points.
Yeah, it was a blowout. It was a lot. They really just took it to them. And granted, they were at home, so they had the home court advantage. But the Dallas Mavericks star
Luka Doncic.
Doncic, yes, I always get him confused with Jokic from the Nuggets, even though I mispronounce both of their names often. You say it so well, but I get those 2 confused sometimes. And so even with Luka, they were still able to just dominate him, close him down, and get that dominant win. What did you think?
It was really good from them, and the Thunder, they have the coach of the year, so...
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So they got a young team and the coach of the year. They're making strides, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay. So the game 2 of that one will be later tonight. So do you think the Mavs will bounce back at Oklahoma, or do you think that the Thunder will still be dominant and possibly even pull off another sweep like they did with the Pelicans?
The Thunder will win in like 5 games, if that.
Well, before you told us 6 or 7. Now you're saying 5? Is that because of how dominant the first game performance was?
Yeah.
Yeah? So now the Mavs have gone from winning 2 to 3 games to basically just 1.
Yeah. Just remember my old prediction, just in case that happens.
Just in case. Okay, so you'll go back to your original predictions, just in case.
Yeah.
Covering your bases there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's go over to the Eastern Conference. Which one do you want to talk with first?
I'll go with the Celtics and Cavaliers.
Okay. So in that one, you picked the Celtics to win in 6 games. And earlier tonight, the Cavs won in game 2 and tied up the series. So what do you think about that?
I was, I guess, kind of surprised because they did it in Boston. And Boston has the best record in the league. And that really surprised me. But I think the Celtics will still win.
In 6 games or less? Are you sticking with your 6 games?
Yeah.
Original prediction. Okay. And it's interesting because now the series is going to shift back to Cleveland. Do you think Cleveland will have the momentum now that they stole a game on the road?
Yeah, they might, but I think the Celtics are going to win one in Cleveland. The Cavaliers are going to win one in Cleveland. Then, once they go back to Boston, Celtics will win, and then they'll close it out in Cleveland.
Okay. So that's how the series will go, back and forth, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. So then let's talk about the last bracket matchup here. The Pacers and the Knicks. What did you think about that finish for game 1 with the Pacers versus Knicks?
The Pacers got robbed.
Exactly. The last 2 minutes, they were either winning or they were just tied it up. The Knicks had just brought it back and tied it up with like 2 minutes. It was like under 2 minutes, I want to say, when the Knicks finally caught up. And what do you think happened at the end of that there?
Well, the refs, they didn't really call everything. They kind of called it against the Pacers, which, to me, it wasn't really fair, but can't really do anything about it. No,
you can't. And I mean, we're all just humans and sometimes we get it wrong. But when you're paid to do that job, you kind of expect them to get it right, especially on these bigger stage as the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So do you think that kind of burst the bubble for the Pacers going into game 2? You think that affected them?
Yeah, definitely.
Because the game last night, it was kind of close back and forth up until the end. And then the fourth quarter, maybe midway through the fourth, the Knicks just really started dominating it. And it was just like they steamrolled over the Pacers. But the Pacers came out and just dominant performance. Like they were mad and they were going to make up for that game 1 loss. And then they just lost it at the end. You think they just kind of lost their momentum?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And so now we kind of want to go back to the Nuggets Timberwolves thing because it was said today that somebody got the MVP. Do you remember who that was?
Nikola Jokic.
And so that was the third MVP of his career. So what do you think of that?
It's definitely really good for him. I think maybe Gilgeous-Alexander should have won it, but he won it, and he's really not that bad of a player. He's probably the best center in the league, and he, I guess, did deserve it.
Do you think it'll be his last one?
Maybe not.
And so, looking at this list in front of us here, with players that have at least 3 NBA MVPs, you got at the top the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with 6. Then you got Michael Jordan. Then you got somebody that some people might care about, maybe not. LeBron James with 4. The great Bill Russell with 4. Larry Bird with 3. Wilt Chamberlain with 3. Magic Johnson with 3. Moses Malone with 3. And now
Nikola Jokic with 3.
So that is pretty amazing company, don't you think?
Yeah.
So even if he never gets another one, he's on a pretty outstanding list right there, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much it for the playoffs right now. So we got games going on tonight. We're going to see how they kind of continue to wrap up and everything. And then we shift over to the WNBA because their regular season starts on Tuesday the 14th. Is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
And so it was just the other day, it was earlier today, the Indiana Fever beat the Atlanta Dream, and Caitlin Clark, she played a total of 32 minutes and scored 12 points. So she's not scoring as frequently and often as she did in college. Do you think she's still trying to make the adjustment to the WNBA?
Yeah, that's one of the things I talked about last time, and I don't think, like I said last time, I don't think she's going to get fully adjusted to it to maybe her second or third season.
Yeah. Do you think it affects her because, the college season, they're not even practicing yet. They don't even ramp up their season until really the fall, and when colleges get back in session and everything. And her season just ended, I think, April. So it was like a month ago when the college basketball tournaments finished up. And so typically she would have had all this time off season, and now she's just getting right back into it. Do you think that's a big factor?
It could be, yeah.
And do you think she'll adjust to it as the season goes on?
Mm-hmm.
So should we expect to see her back in her usual scoring form maybe later in the season? Because, this is still just preseason. This isn't games that actually affect anything. Do you think she's kind of maybe holding it out and waiting and just kind of getting to know her teammates and before she really turns it on once the season starts?
Yeah, that might be a factor, but she only scored how many points?
12 points.
Okay, but she played 32 minutes, and if I'm not mistaken, there's only 40 minutes in a regular WNBA game.
So, she played most of it.
Yeah.
And looking at the stats, she played the most minutes out of everybody on her team. So maybe she just needs to work on getting adjusted and everything. Now, she was leading her team in assists, so maybe she was just getting guarded a lot, and she just dished the ball off to help out her team because the other team knew she was a scoring threat. So do you think teams are going to do that? They're going to double, triple team her all year long?
Yeah.
Do you think her assists will come up and everything, and she might be looking at double-doubles down the stretch?
Yeah, she might.
So, but then another WNBA news, Candace Parker announced that at the end of the year she is retiring. And so she's been playing in the WNBA for a long time. And I know they're going to be missing her when she gets out of the league and everything. So anything else to talk about for tonight?
I do not believe so.
Okay. Well, I think we've covered everything we need to for now. We're going to go back and we're going to watch that other playoff game for tonight, and we will come back and give you guys some more updates later on. So this is all we have for today with All-Star Hoop Talk, everyone. So like, follow, and download us wherever you can get your podcasts.